I've been very fortunate to have supportive family and friends in my life. I've never been discouraged by someone really important in my life. Like, no one's ever discouraged me from working on comics and pursuing an art career, at least not in a way that's, like, hindered me as of yet. But I do know lots of people who want to pursue art, but their parents, didn't want them to go into that field, or they have friends who sneer at them, or they feel like they can't do it where they live, or they'll never... they have everyone in their life telling them that you'll never make it as an artist, there's no money in comics, etc., etc. So how do you deal with that when that's your life? I've dealt with it in small bursts. Like, I've talked to teachers and some friends throughout my life who have tried to discourage me. So yeah, I guess I'll tell you how I have been able to push through that. It's really tough coming from people that you, care about. Because if it's, say, someone I don't really know and they sneer at comics, I can just laugh it off and go oh, they don't know what they're talking about. But when it's someone you care about, it really hurts. They don't believe in me. Maybe they're right. Because, if it's someone you trust, then yeah, that's super scary. It can really make you question yourself. And the problem too is you can't really change people's minds, at least not as much as you'd hope. If someone's decided that comics aren't worth their time or anyone's time, you're probably not going to be able to convince them with a single conversation. Likely they've never read a comic that appeals to them. They might be insecure about, I don't know, what they do or their medium, or they might think art in general is a waste of time. I've seen that attitude all over the place. Or they might be afraid that you're not going to make any money, or they don't believe you'll ever make any money. And when they care about you, that can be really... I guess it can scare them because they want what's best from you. They want what's best for you, especially if they're family or friends. So it comes from this place of caring, but it's the worst way to go about it. So it's really important to understand their bias and where they're coming from. And by that, I don't mean you have to accept where they're coming from. They could be totally wrong, but it's important to try to understand why they think these things and why they're telling you these things. It helps to know why they think comics are bad, Is it because they want you to pursue science? Is it because they think all comics are for kids and not worth your time? Knowing this stuff, it might give you the tools to speak with them on a level that'll resonate with them. If they think comics are for kids and therefore they're comics aren't written well or juvenile, you can explain to them oh, that's a misconception. Also, what's wrong with making media for kids, And, who's to say that, stories for kids aren't smart or well written? And, you can let them know that there's comics for, all ages and different groups of people, and there's a whole bunch of genres in it. And, they might never have heard of this before. Also, when you understand someone's bias, you can, I guess, deal with what they've said easier. I guess on some level it makes it easier to kind of dismiss what they're claiming, because if you find out oh, they hate comics because they don't understand comics, it's okay, well then why do I care what they think if they don't know what they're talking about? You can build up your self-confidence again from there. Yeah, and it stops you from questioning yourself and going are comics really bad? They're so smart, they know what they're talking about, and then it's oh, actually, they don't know what they're talking about, and I'm gonna be okay. Another thing to remember is that no matter who tells you these things, it's your life, it's not theirs. In the end, even if they're your parents or your family, you need to do what makes you happy. There are millions of ways to make money. You're gonna make money in comics as long as there are comic fans. They're not going anywhere. Comics are just getting bigger and bigger. The more people are discovering them. Really, you shouldn't sweat it. It's getting easier and easier to make an income off your art just through, the web and crowdfunding and things like Patreon. It's easier to reach people who are into your stuff. So, yeah, it's just getting easier and easier to have a career that you can tailor to exactly what you want it to be. And it's important to remember that if they're your parents or your family, they're really just worried about you. If it's your friends, they might be insecure. But even still, you're gonna do okay. If do what makes you happy, because in the end, you're all you've got. That sounds really bleak. I don't mean it in a bleak way. I just mean I don't know. If no one else is looking out for you, you gotta look out for yourself. And search for people who are willing to support you. It sounds bleak. I'm not trying to say like cut out your family or friends if they disagree with you. Just take time to like understand where they're coming from, and at the same time it's okay to disagree and be like, no, I'm fine, this is what I'm gonna do. It's also very important to check in on why what they're saying bothers you. It's important to understand your own bias against things. Why does it hurt when your friends say that comics are dumb? If you're confident about your own work and your comics and your job, what does it matter what one other person thinks? And like, that's really hard. I struggle with that all the time. But in the end, that's really what it comes down to. If you gain the self-confidence to like just rock your work and love what you're doing, it's not going to matter what they think. And you need to address things when they hurt and figure out why they hurt, work on it, and love yourself. I don't know. And that can be super hard when it feels like everyone in your life disapproves of your art and what you're doing. Like, oh my god, that's so hard. Because us humans, we're like social animals and we want approval. But yeah, just really look deep into what is driving your emotions and try to challenge things that are distorted or just hurting you, especially when they're coming from within. Like, if everyone else is in your way, don't get in your own way. And finally, like, there's always going to be people who disapprove of what you're doing, so just do it anyways, you know? The best thing to prove them wrong is to be successful at what you're doing, and you're only going to be successful at what you're doing is if you don't give up. You know, pursue art and comics or anything that you're passionate about. You'll succeed if you work hard and you keep trying and you learn from your mistakes. You know, because when you're making money off your art, when everyone told you you couldn't do it, joke's on them. So all the petty, silly stuff they're saying, it doesn't matter, because you're happy and you're making a living off your art and it's all good. So just keep working at it. Don't listen to discouraging, rude people. Yeah, I used to feel this way a lot in high school because I did have a lot of teachers and a lot of adults in my life who were saying like, don't follow comics. You know, you gotta make sure you go to art school and then drop off the face of the earth and become an accountant. Like, I heard a lot of that where they were like, go to art school and then after art school there's no jobs, so don't become an artist. It was really weird. But I didn't listen to all these people. I decided I'm gonna work in comics. Even if I don't make any money off it, I'm still gonna do it. And now here I am. I'm making money off my art in several different ways, and I'm very happy. And I'm really glad I didn't listen to those unsupportive, discouraging people. So yeah, if you're in that place, my heart goes out to you. Keep working at your stuff. You can do it. That's all I have for today. Thank you so much for listening. If you have any questions or if you'd like to submit a video topic, please leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye!